Welcome and thank you for joining us today for a Land Services SA webinar on Plan Presentation Requirements Review. This is a pre-recorded session with a live Q&A session at the end of this presentation. We ask you kindly to hold all your questions until the allocated time, where one of our subject matter experts will be able to assist. Land Services SA is committed to providing an excellent customer experience. One way we continue to deliver value to the industry is through our education program, where we produce a range of helpful educational materials, hold regular webinars and host industry events. Our industry education program addresses key topics or frequently asked questions to ensure you remain up to date with contemporary practices. We want to help set you up for success and believe helping with the industry education will help reduce the volume of requisitions, meaning a quicker and more seamless experience for your clients. Land Services SA's subject matter experts assist in delivering our industry education program, utilising their years of experience and respected place in the industry. This webinar was prepared by Ruhi Afnan, Land Services SA Senior Licensed Surveyor, and Steve Andrews, a Senior Plan Examiner. During this webinar, we will be discussing the changes to the Plan Presentation Requirements, also known as the PPR. The topics are: why the review, who was involved, the process involved in reviewing the changes, what are the major changes, changes that require further industry consultation, finally, where to find the PPR and notice to lodging parties. Why the review? The main catalyst for updating the PPR was that there was out-of-date information contained in the PPR since the implementation of the digital plan lodgement. The PPR was originally written for lodging a manual plan and needed to align with modern lodgement methods. There was also the opportunity to simplify the way plans are presented. Through plans, client advice, we received questions from the survey industry and it became apparent that some sections needed to be clarified. There was a separate CAD drawing standards document that should be included in the PPR. Who was involved in the review? Changes to the PPR have been following a comprehensive consultation process from the Survey Industry Consultative Group, in conjunction with the Office of the Surveyor General. The key representatives included Geospatial Council of Australia, Consulting Surveyors South Australia, Office of the Surveyor General, and other key stakeholders from the survey industry. These key bodies reported back to the constituents for further feedback. The review process. Land Services SA reviewed the PPR document and developed a list of the changes to put forward to the Survey Industry Consultative Group. This group also had a list of changes to put forward. The Office of the Surveyor General also had recommendations. This list was collated and analysed by the group over a series of meetings over a 3-month period. The Survey Industry Consultative Group reported back to their constituents and all the surveyors were given the opportunity to respond or bring forward new changes to the PPR. After the changes were reviewed by the Survey Industry Consultative Group, a consensus was made by the group before the changes were agreed upon. Some of the proposed changes still required further discussion for future update of the PPR. Major changes to easements. Showing easements on outer boundary plans is now optional. Essentially, the main purpose of an outer boundary survey is to lock in the title boundaries and not to manage easements that can be carried forward, extinguished, or varied during the subdivision process. Showing easements on an outer boundary plane can add significant complexity to the plan, which could be superfluous. In some cases, it may be prudent to show existing easements on an outer boundary plane, as it will become a future title boundary within the subdivision. If no easements are shown on the outer boundary plane, you must add a note in the annotation panel referring to see the certificate of title for easement details. Another change for easement planes is not showing the dominant land when creating an easement. Currently, where an existing approved plan delineates an easement, that plan can be used to create a new easement, even though the dominant land is not shown on the plan. Hence, no new plan is required. Another factor that influenced this change is that diagrams are now omitted from the certificate of title, and the dominant land is described by an allotment and a plan number, or by title reference. Other easement changes include where the easement is not being fully extinguished and only portion of the dominant land has been extinguished, the land burden description will no longer be captured in the easement details panel, and the other titles affected will also be left blank. Often, due to boundary changes, the newly formed allotment will no longer require a dominant right over an easement. Instead of creating an impertinency, it is recommended that the right be extinguished. The serving owner does not need to consent, and the land burden does not need to be shown. The PPR details exactly how the easement note should be written. Changes to easements when doing a substitute community plan. Where an easement is created in a community plan and the community plan is amended, the substitute community plan will show that easement as existing. This has been a point of confusion for both the surveying and conveyancing industry in the past, and Land Services SA hopes that this clarifies the issue. Land Services SA has included detailed examples like the one shown here, where the first version of the community plan, the easements are shown as new, and in the second version, which is the substitute sheet, they are shown as existing. Land Services SA plan to cover this topic in a separate webinar in the future, where we will provide additional information on this change. Changes to the survey requirements have been developed by the Office of the Surveyor General. Balanced parcels that are less than 2,000 square metres must be fully defined, and calc distances cannot be used. Exemptions to this rule are boundaries that have been previously defined since the DSA, new roads, provided the new boundary is a straight line between 2 points defined by data, the total area of the new road does not exceed 15 square metres. Another change to the survey requirements is that long connections from PSMs to the subject land are now unacceptable. External boundaries to the subject land must be defined to demonstrate the redefinition of the title boundaries of the subject land. The definition of urban and rural surveys has been included into the PPR. This now aligns with the survey regulations. The following items have been added. Urban area means locations where land parcels are generally less than 5,000 square metres in area that are not included in Adelaide City. High density urban means urban area land parcels that are less than 1,000 square metres in area. Low density urban means urban area land parcels that are 1,000 square metres or greater in area. Another change to the survey requirements is that bearings for distances longer than 1,000 metres must be shown to the nearest 1 second. This will help in achieving acceptable joins between PSMs in rural areas where we experience boundary lengths greater than 1 kilometre. Other changes to the plan presentation requirements. Where the plan is over a stratum parcel, a H1, H2, etc. identifiers must be used to delineate the different heights with an annotation. For example, portion of allotment 2 marked H1 exists below a level of 49 metres AHD. Roads to be vested now will show areas. Occupation must be shown for all new boundaries for community divisions as they are treated the same as certified land divisions. Finally, there are several small inclusions in the PPR. For example, we will now refer to enlargements instead of VD. Future PPR changes. Further industry consultation is needed to discuss additional proposed changes. For example, new easements being fully certified survey, showing only new easements on easement plans. LSSA is open for industry to suggest future changes. And legislative reviews of the Real Property Act 1886 and Community Titles Act 1996 might also require changes to this document. It is envisaged that a working group will be created in the future to address any future proposed changes. Plan presentation requirements can be found on our website landservices.com.au under the Land Division menu. Click through to Plan Lodgement and then follow the link to Plan Presentation Requirements. On this screen, you will find the link to view a PDF of the PPR. And a list of the plan preparation checklists. Following the publication of the updated PPR, the new version will be published and made available on our website shown on the previous slide. A notification will be advised to industry in a notice to lodging party. The notice to lodging parties will be distributed by email and published on our website under the Land Registration menu. Select For Professionals and follow the link to Notice for Lodging Parties. In summary, consider these key points. Notice to lodging parties will detail all the changes to the PPR. Outer boundary plans. Showing easements on outer boundary plans is now optional. Easement plans. The dominant land is not shown when creating an easement on an easement plan. Balanced parcels that are less than 2,000 square metres must be fully defined and calc distances cannot be used. Definition of urban and rural surveys. The definition of these has now been included into the PPR. Future PPR changes that require further consultation will consider new easements being fully certified survey and the impact of legislative changes. Land Services SA's website has a range of educational and support materials to assist you in your day-to-day work. Our Industry Education Hub is a good place to start, and this can be found by clicking Education Hub on the home page of the Land Services SA website. A copy of today's webinar will be published on the Industry Education Hub, together with recording of previously held webinars. That concludes the recorded webinar section. Thank you for listening. Please remain online for the live Q&A session with our subject matter experts.